Hey everybody, so this is my second go around with the whole Google Hangout, YouTube live thing, and I'm not really sure how it's going, but it's really actually kind of works for me because it uploads everything almost immediately, so I don't have to try to deal with editing and uploading process. This particular video is kind of like not a touchy subject, but a touchy subject on many behalves. It's the question of where's the girl's father? And why isn't he in the picture? If you've watched most of my videos, not most of them, some of them, there's actually been little bits and pieces of him in there, and we'll kind of touch base on that in a minute. So I guess we'll kind of go through the whole spiel of everything. And oh gosh, I can't even think now. Holy cow, that's bad. The girl's dad and I were together we got together in 2008 and married in 2010 and then divorced in 2013. It was final. Divorce was filed for in 2012. But yeah, so that's that. When the divorce was final, everything, and even really before then, I don't want to really, it's kind of like we're not on that level yet, so I can't, let's just like throw all of the details out there. I still kind of want to keep some of his life private for his benefit. But when the divorce was final, and like I said, even before then, when like I had temporary custody or whatever, the agreement was he got them every other weekend, every other major holiday, every other school break. He got them on his birthday, on Father's Day, and 3 hours on their birthday if it didn't fall on his weekend. And if it fell on his weekend, then I got them for 3 hours on their actual birthday. The flies really don't bother me right now. But so that was the agreement. It's always been the agreement, or at least what's in the papers. And then I told him any other time that he wanted to get them or see them, all he had to do was call me, text me, whatever, and we would figure something out. So that happened in, like I said, 2012, and then was finalized in 2013. And since then, that's never really been the case. There was maybe like a 6 to 8 month span of time, so maybe a year's total time over the 4 years that's actually happened. He got remarried, and she had she had an older child, so like the child from a previous marriage, and then they had 2 together, but that was, like I said, in that 4-year span. So originally it was just the new wife and her daughter, so his stepchild. And they always took preference. They always came first. And so for a while, I would try to get in touch with him and be like, hey, you need to see your kids. You know, they miss you. They need to see you. When are you going to get them? Blah, blah, blah. Well, then I stopped. So then one Easter, I specifically remember he worked third shift this particular era in life. So he didn't really get them on his weekends because he pretty much just worked third shift on the weekends. He's a security guard for like a U.S. Express type trucking company, monitoring the yard. I don't remember what they're called, but he was just a security guard for that. So he was doing that. And I don't remember all of what happened. I just remember that year for Easter, and the girls were, I want to say, 1 turning 2 or 2 turning 3. That would have put Scarlet 2 turning 3 or 3 turning 4. No, she was 2 turning 3. So, I mean, they were little. But that year for Easter, they got from him, and they weren't even delivered by him. They were delivered by his then wife. They got them baskets that had one little stuffed animal bunny and a pack of, I want to say either M&Ms or Skittles, but it was candy that the twins, which were at the time, one turning 2, that they couldn't eat them yet because they didn't have teeth and all of that kind of stuff yet to eat candy. And so then, of course, that kind of made me angry, but it was things like that. I don't remember anything for Christmas. I'm sure there was something, because he always at least was good to get them at least something, whether or not it was relevant to what they needed or wanted or were into or whatever. He at least tried to get them something, but I can't like put in my head what he got them that particular year. Then he lost his job there. He quit paying child support and really stopped seeing them then. And then I found out they were pregnant. So this would be their first child together, but her second child, his fourth child. Sorry, I can't count. Again, they still came first. He never really got them. Then they moved into this little apartment and he got a job. I don't remember where, because he changed jobs several times throughout this last 4 years. But he got a job, got this little apartment. He still worked several days a week. And I want to say it was, again, on the weekends when he was supposed to have his kids. And court order, if he got them, regardless of the fact that he was there or not, and I was even willing to like trade weekends, because like I didn't know if it was maybe his work schedule that was scheduling him on the weekends. And I was like, okay, well, we can flip them and you can have them this weekend and I'll have them this weekend, just so that you get to see them when you actually have them, instead of you coming in and seeing them for 10 minutes and then going to bed. Sorry, I have the hiccups. So court ordered, I had to let them go regardless. And the comment was made, and like I'm trying to protect certain aspects of things, but the comment was made that his new wife did not like Scarlet, which is, of course, my oldest one. And the comment was, I can't stand her and I hate her. I don't know if it was because she was so much like me or what, but however, if it's your stepchild, you don't say that. And you damn sure don't say it to somebody that's going to tell their mother what you said. So I kind of had that. But again, court order, I had to let him go unless they were physically being harmed or whatever. So then Scarlett came to me one day, and like I said, at this point, she was 3, 2 turning 3. But she's always been like a good talker. So she come to me and said, we're going to say Susie just because it's a name. She said, Mommy, Susie hurt me. And I said, what are you talking about? You know, thinking maybe she spanked her or something like that, because we spank, the girls. If they don't deserve it most of the time, or they don't get it, I guess I should say. When they do get it, they deserve it. We'll phrase it that way. But she was like, Mommy, Sarah hurt me. And I was like, how? So she showed me. Well, then I went to the girl's dad's mom. So they're Mimi. And I was like, hey, this is what she said to me. Has she said anything to you? Because at this point on our co-parenting level, there was no communication. Anytime I wanted to communicate with him, I had to go through the then wife. So it really, I could not get to him. And of course, with it being about her, I couldn't say, hey, I need to talk to your husband about this. So I went to his mom, and she was like, yeah, she said something to me too. Let's go talk to Dad. So we went over there, and this was the day before his birthday. He was supposed to get them the next day for his birthday. And I was like, hey, this is what's happening. And she showed me in detail what supposedly happened. And she's 2, again, turning 3. This was in January. So she had actually just turned 2. Maybe she was 3 turning 4. I don't remember. But she was little. But little enough that she shouldn't be able to know how to do what she showed me what happened. So I told him, I was like, this is what she's saying happened, blah, blah, blah. Well, then both of them blew up, got mad. It wound up being investigated, and he didn't give visitation for a little while because of it. And of course, then he was mad at me and hated me, but she wound up calling the cops, and they came out and said, well, for the best interest of the child, right now, this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. So he didn't see him again for a while because of that. Then they moved again to a trailer. Not knocking trailers, by the way. There ain't nothing wrong with them. I've lived in them. But just, I guess, to give you a visual. And every time I would tell them they were going to their daddy's, they said, okay, but do we have to spend the night? And I was like, yeah, it's your daddy's weekend. And they would beg me not to go. Mommy, I don't want to go. Mommy, I don't want to go. And I would, okay, well, why don't you want to go? And they'd say, because Mommy Susie's mean. And I was like, what do you mean she's mean? Like, does she scream at you? No, she's just mean. She just screams at us and tells us to go to our room. So, again, I confronted the situation. I was like, hey, and they were like, no, we wanted them to go play, blah, 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 whatever. So then it got to the point where I was just done. And I was not going to beg my children to just go spend time with their dad. So I told them, I said, if they don't want to go, I'm not making them go anymore. I said, and if they want to come home and they're there, you call me and I will come get them. That it's just as simple as that, or they won't go. Again, because in our custody agreement, it was, we have joint custody, but I'm primary custodian. And if there's ever a dispute on anything, I get final say so. So whatever I say, regardless of whatever, it basically wins. And it sounds awful, but like, not like I get my way, but in that aspect. So he pretty much had to do that. So it got to the point where they would be there for a couple of hours and he would call me, I can't do it anymore, come get them. So I would go get them. And then he went for a while where he maybe saw them once every 2 or 3 months. He never, ever, even to this day, never calls to check on them, never calls to see if they need anything. Anytime I think about it, just because it's been me and them for so long that I don't really put, it sounds awful, but it's just the way it is. I don't really put him in the picture. I've gotten better, especially now, because he's going through a divorce with said Susie. So our co-parenting level is getting way, way better. So like now, probably over the last month, he's gotten to where we call him every night and he'll do the night prayers with the girls and we'll read our Bible story together. And I kind of involve him a little bit with that. But before then, like I said, he never called, never texted, never anything. For their birthday parties, I've always been the one expensing everything. As far as food, presents, decorations, the party crap, it's always been me. Even when I've asked for help, comments were made and it was like huffy puffy attitude was given, and so I was just like, screw it, I'll do it myself, and if it puts me in a bind, I'll figure it out. Luckily I have had significant others that have helped, but it's not the same, in a sense, as, because like I've always wanted the co-parenting level where we can be cordial together, throw the parties together, all the family come together, and not have to do like 5 or 6 different birthday parties because it's stupid. Then the kids don't understand it. Well, why do I have 7 birthdays? I was only born one time. Well, because everybody can't get their head out of their ass and do it together, So that's kind of that. Like I said, now in the last month, he has gotten better. He's come around more. He actually, a couple of Saturdays ago, spent the night with the girls. I put them all a pallet down on the floor, and they all just crashed on the floor and slept. but it's definitely gotten better, way better than it was. Is there improving to go? Absolutely, but I'm sure there's improvement to go on my level. But my biggest thing is I'm not going to beg somebody to be in their life. You know, they have me, and as much as I want them to be able to have their father, that's kind of not in my, that ball's not in my court. There's been ample opportunities, and even still now, sometimes it kind of feels like he chooses the other children over them. Part of me thinks that it'll always be that way because he's been there for those two since the day they were born, versus with Scarlet, he was deployed when she was born, so he didn't meet her until she was almost 3 months old, and then that was only for 18 days, and then he went back. So he came in December and left back to go to finish his deployment in January, and then didn't come home again until April. Was home, and April was in the military still, so was gone constantly with that. That was in 2010. And then the twins were born in 2011. And then, like, they were born, I can't even think. The twins were born in December of 2011. In 2012, August or September, I moved home. And then February of 2013, divorce was filed for, and then it was final in June or July of 2013. I just did like crazy eyes, sorry. And when with the twins, they spent a lot of time. Like Savannah was in the NICU for 73 days. Sarah was in there for 56. So he wasn't really there for that. And then even when they came home, he didn't really want to participate in anything. Many of you know that Savannah was on oxygen and was on heart monitors and sleep apnea machines and a lot of stuff. And when the alarms would sound at night, he wouldn't get up. He wouldn't even get up to kind of like help make sure she was okay or to get Scarlet back to bed. So then when her alarms went off, it of course woke up Sarah and Scarlet. So then I would be dealing with all three, putting them back to bed and trying to get them to go to sleep and calm them down and all of that. So he's never really been there for them, never connected to them. And I don't really know that it'll ever be that way. Even now, with Scarlet kind of draws back from him a lot. And they all love their dad, but you can tell that it's different. But it's life, and I always tell them, dad loves you, mommy loves you, whatever. I've always invited dad to everything. Like for Valentine's, they have a father-daughter dance. That's what it is. And I've always invited him to that. He went 1 year. So it is what it is. But that's kind of visitation custody. It's like I said, it's still the same. He's supposed to get them every other weekend, every other major holiday, every other major school break. But it's just me and them. I try to always, if we're going somewhere, hey, you want to come to the park with us? Or, whatever. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. And I just don't ever tell them, because I don't ever, even if he says, yeah, I'll be there, I just always let it be a surprise, because 99% of the time he doesn't ever show up. And I said, it's not knocking him, not trying to talk bad about him. It just is what it is. Child support's not a regular. I don't ever know when I'm getting it or when I'm not. A lot of times I don't get it until he gets the notice saying we're going to court, and then he pays it from when he got the letter until the day he goes to court, and then he stops paying. And then when he gets the letter again, he'll start paying again. And when we go back, they're like, okay, you've been paying, so it's all good, Do I want him to go to jail? No, not at all, because, he does have the other two kids, and I know what it does to the kids when they're not, when he doesn't have them. So do I want that? No. Would I like him to step up and take responsibility? Sure. Who wouldn't? But that's why God made me the way I am, and I'm strong enough to handle it. So I hope this answers some of your questions. I know it was kind of long-winded and maybe went a little bit out of the range of what you were asking for. But if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them down in the comments below. I will link down our Snapchat. I have an Instagram as well if you want to follow us there. Make sure to like us on Facebook, and we'll see you guys for our next video. Bye.